Hey, folks, Eric Stacklebeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast live stream and some major action today out of the White House regarding predominantly Islamic migration, I should say, to the United States, because it is a mass migration, folks. We've been talking about this a bunch here on the live stream on the Watchman Newscast over the past several weeks. We see what's happening in Europe right now. We see that Christmas markets in places like Germany, France, the UK are armed fortresses, essentially, to keep out the threat of Islamic Jihad. We see that France just canceled its annual New Year's Eve celebrations in Paris. Elsewhere in the Western world, we see, oh, and by the way, in Germany, there was just a foiled plot last Friday, broke up a plot, German authorities did, involving, I think, 3 Moroccans, a Syrian and an Egyptian, to attack a Christmas market. Surprise, surprise. Elsewhere in the Western world, in Australia, you know what we saw on Sunday. And we did a live stream that day. We talked about it. We broke down the effects of it. 15 people slaughtered at a Hanukkah celebration by 2 Islamic jihadists. The West has let the problem in. Western so-called leaders have let the problem in, folks. And now it's a full-blown crisis across the Western world. Who will step up to defend Judeo-Christian Western civilization? Well, President Trump is making a pretty good effort in that regard and did something I think today was very positive. He banned all visa holders, all passport holders, I should say, coming from the Palestinian Authority. It's an effective ban on Palestinian migration to the United States. I'm going to break down the details a little bit more, and there's a few other countries. Palestine, there is no country of Palestine. It's Gaza and the so-called West Bank. Here on the Watchman, we call it Judea and Samaria. That's the biblical heartland of Israel. But Trump has announced or issued a presidential proclamation banning passport holders from the Palestinian Authority, which is essentially most Palestinians, certainly in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. Gaza, Hamas run. Not sure all the ins and outs of passport holders in Gaza because they've been under Hamas rule now for close to 20 years, or what's left of Hamas rule. But here's what the presidential proclamation said, and I'll break down the other countries as well. President Donald Trump expanded his administration's travel ban to several more countries on Tuesday, including barring Palestinians from entering the United States. Number one, what do you think of this, by the way? We've got a highly educated audience here on the Watchman. Yay, nay, what do you think? Good move by President Trump to ban Palestinians entering the United States, considering the long, long history of Palestinian terror in Gaza and in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. If President Trump is looking to crack down on Islamic terror and keep it out of the United States, it seems that the Palestinians naturally would not be welcome in the United States because the Palestinian territories have been basically a test lab for jihad and terror for decades. And that's just a fact. Gaza in particular, which is run by a vicious jihadist organization, Hamas, which wants to see the destruction of the United States. So yeah, probably not a good idea to let those folks into your country. The presidential proclamation said the new restrictions are being, just reading this straight off my phone, are being put in place to protect the U.S. from, quote, national security and public safety threats. Exactly. Here is what the proclamation said about blocking Palestinians. Quote, from the presidential proclamation issued by President Trump today, several U.S. designated terrorist groups operate actively in the West Bank or Gaza Strip and have murdered American citizens. Also, the recent war in these areas likely resulted in compromised vetting and screening abilities. In light of these factors and considering the weak or non-existent control exercised over these areas by the Palestinian Authority, or PA, individuals attempting to travel on PA-issued or endorsed travel documents cannot currently be properly vetted and approved for entry into the United States. Amen. It's absolutely correct. This is common sense, folks. In times where common sense is not so common. This is a return to American common sense from the Trump administration when it comes to the Palestinian issue. What they just laid out in this proclamation is exactly correct. Several U.S. designated terrorist groups, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, two Iranian proxies, chief among them, operate in the Palestinian areas and hold Palestinian passports, no doubt, some of these jihadis. And the vetting process now, especially in Gaza, is a disaster after October 7th. So this is common sense. If you can't vet, you can't let them in. It's common sense. And if you can vet and they have jihadi connections, you're definitely not going to let them in. So people can howl and wail and gnash their teeth about this, but it's common sense. Again, eager to get your comments on this. What do you think? And beyond the Palestinians, a little bit more here, the Trump administration is also banning people from 5 other countries: Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Syria. The restrictions are necessary, the proclamation said, based on the lack of sufficient information to assess the risks posed by foreign nationals from the banned countries. Trump's proclamation added that a strong terrorist presence, as well as criminal and extremist activity, leading to an overall lack of stability in the banned countries, make it difficult to vet those people who come to the United States. These new countries on the list, plus the Palestinians, who are not a country, although the leaders of Australia, more on them in a minute, France, Britain, and Canada, they unilaterally recognized a Palestinian state back in September, although it doesn't exist. Now, in June, the Trump administration also blocked travelers from Afghanistan. Unfortunately, that was too late. We saw the day before Christmas an Afghan national murdered a National Guard member and seriously wounded another in Washington, D.C. in a jihadi terror attack. But Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea right now to let in people from Iran, Somalia, and Yemen, jihadi hotbeds. This is common sense. I can't say that. I can't reiterate that phrase enough. But I want to know what you think. We're going to break this down a little bit more. As again, I started off this live stream by saying the Western world is under siege right now. Something's happening. And it's not by coincidence. It's a coordinated jihad, both of the violent variety and of the stealthy Muslim Brotherhood style variety. We want to break that down. And I also want to break down how Israel continues to be the canary in the coal mine on this issue. Israel is the first line of defense for Western civilization. Israel has been warning the West to get its act together, to wake up. The West has not heeded the call, and so we have events like what we saw in Australia last Sunday. We're going to break all of this down. We are in a spiritual battle, folks, ultimately, a struggle for Judeo-Christian civilization, for the defense, the survival of the West. It's not an exaggeration. We're going to break it down. 2 things real quick before we continue our conversation here. If you like what you're hearing, current events, breaking news, chiefly from Israel and the Middle East, but we go all around the world, China, Russia, Europe, the United States, and all points beyond, depending on the news cycle. And we do it from an unapologetically biblical perspective. If you like that, hey, be sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. We are fast approaching. We've got, I think, about 4,500 to go before reaching 1.1 million subscribers. Just a goal we like to set as a team, benchmarks you like to reach to keep you going, keep you motivated, and know that you're reaching more people with this important message for such a time as this. It goes without saying. So we're about 4,500, I believe, from 1.1 million subscribers. We would love to reach that number by the end of the year, by the end of 2026. We've got about 2 weeks to go. So we'd love if you could subscribe and join us here every day as watchmen and women on the wall. That's number 1. Number 2, got to tell you about our partner for today's live stream. We're talking about a rise in global anti-Semitism, a violent, demonic rise in Jew hatred and Israel hatred by extension. And we've been talking about these attempts to boycott and isolate Israel and the Jewish people. They're bullseyes on their backs now, including in the West. I can't think of anything better than to bless Israel right now and fulfill that biblical mandate laid out in Genesis 12:3 to bless Israel. than to engage in what I call a boycott. Buy Israeli products, Israeli-made products, support Israeli small businesses in a time of economic hardship there, as Israel is still embroiled in a seven-front war. That's where our partner for today's live stream, Artza, comes in. You've heard me talk about these incredible Artza boxes, folks. These are handcrafted, lovingly made items, made in places like Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Nazareth, the Dead Sea region, the Galilee. Products, the sights, the smells, the taste of Israel, made in Israel by Israeli artisans, handcrafted, and Israeli small businesses. These boxes are high quality. It's not some shoebox coming to your door. They are beautifully crafted, top notch. I can tell you, my daughters, we get these boxes quarterly. It's an Artza box subscription, artzabox.com. That's artzabox.com. Use the discount code Watchman18 to get an 18% discount off your Artza box subscription just in time for Christmas. More on that in a minute. But my daughters every quarter say, hey, did we get anything from Artza? They love the products in there. Again, made by incredible Israeli small businesses. The founder of Artza is a good friend of mine who serves in the IDF reserves honorably. These are great people. And it's tough to get to Israel right now in many cases, right? Travel's been tough since October 7th. That's number one. Number two, you may have been to Israel and you can't get back, or look, you've never been to Israel. It's on your bucket list. And Artza Box is a taste of the Holy Land at your doorstep, delivered to your doorstep. It's amazing. And the Christmas box, it's a nativity box just in time for Christmas. I can't think of a better gift for the Israel lover, the Bible lover in your house. Just in time for Hanukkah right now, Christmas right around the corner, than an Artza box subscription. What a unique gift, by the way. I mean, these are products made in Israel, made in the Holy Land by Israeli small businesses. You got a unique, awesome biblical gift there, number one. Number two, you're blessing the Israeli economy, fulfilling that Genesis 12:3 mandate. It's a great deal all around. Again, artzabox.com. Discount code Watchman, that's M-A-N, Watchman18 to get an 18% discount off your Artza box subscription. Awesome gift, awesome company. Check them out. Bless Israel and bless your loved ones with an Artza box subscription today. Okay. There are many in the United States, I'm sad to say now, and across the Western world who are not very keen on blessing Israel, let's just say, and that's an understatement. Over the weekend, we saw in California, Southern California, someone fired gunshots into a home in Southern California, yelling, F the Jews. Last night in New York City, on the subway, a group of Orthodox Jewish men were attacked, set upon by two maniacs, yelling anti-Semitic slurs and threatening to kill them. They were accosted physically because they were Jews. That's the sole reason. Now we've got the shooting at Brown University is still being investigated. Another shooting of an MIT professor we're just hearing about. Both one Jewish, at least one of them Jewish. The other, I believe, a friend of Israel and the Jewish people. Is this intentional? We need more details about these universities, these professors being shot here in the United States. But it's a steady drumbeat. Australia, which we mentioned earlier. We've got countless, I mean countless, threats against Jewish institutions, synagogues, Israeli embassies. The list goes on. Jewish schools, Jewish-owned businesses. The list goes on and on and on. We have right now, folks, a demonic wave. I don't say that lightly. And it's almost like, you know, Hamas said this, the gates of hell. They would always say, the gates of hell. We're going to open the gates of hell against you, Israel. And the Iranian regime says it as well. And I believe the gates of hell really did open on October 7th, 2023. And not just in the physical, with Hamas foot soldiers butchering 1,200 Israelis, men, women, children, the elderly. And then Hezbollah joining in, the entire Iranian axis joining in. The physical was bad enough. 2 years plus of war and a seven-front war, as I mentioned, that Israel's fighting. But something spiritual was unleashed, without a doubt. That was such an act of demonic terror on October 7, 2023. And for instance, when we talk about this being spiritual and something being unleashed, The anti-Semitism it's a spirit, a demonic spirit. It's the world's oldest hatred. It has no rhyme nor reason. On the surface, it seems completely irrational, but the devil, yeah, he exists, hates Israel, hates the Jewish people, because their continued survival against all odds is proof that God exists, that God keeps his covenants and keeps his promises. All of the enemies, you think of that Genesis 12:3 principle. I will curse those who curse you, Abraham and your descendants, the people of Israel. God says, I will curse those who curse you. We like to do the roll call here many times on the Watchman. Pharaoh, Haman of the mighty Persian Empire, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Philistines, the Jebusites, the Nazis, the Ottomans, the Romans, the Greeks, the list goes on. Now Hamas, the Iranian regime, Hezbollah, they're heading for the exits too and being destroyed. They've been consumed and brought down by their own demonic, genocidal Jew hatred. All these far-flung empires and individuals and nations throughout history that have stooped into Jew hatred, it ends in ruin for them, yet against all odds. I mean, against all odds. This tiny nation, Israel, the size of New Jersey, the size of the state of New Jersey, continues to not only survive, but thrive. Folks, if you think anti-Semitism isn't a spiritual battle, and there's not a spiritual component to this, it's not demonically driven, consider this. 0.02% of the world's population is Jewish. I mean, that's it. 0.02%. To put it in contrast, or put it in perspective, I should say, I think it's 15 million, at the most 16 million of the world's 8 billion people. Out of 8 billion, only 15, 16 million are Jews. That's it. And the overwhelming majority live in either Israel or New York City. And a good amount live in France. Other than that, the Jewish people are scattered sparingly throughout the world. It's a minuscule population worldwide. That's number one. Number two, Israel, again, the size of the state of New Jersey. If the world had its way, Israel would be the size of Rhode Island. They want Israel to give up all of the crucial land. And in Israel, you have 10 million people and only 8 million of them Jews. Yet this tiny people group and this tiny nation are the object of the world's absolute obsession. I mean, the radical left, radical Islamists, the woke right, the Tucker Carlson wing, Candace Owens wing, they can all agree on one thing. They don't like the Jews or the world's one and only Jewish state. And they're very clear about that. And it's growing. These strange bedfellows all align on that point. And Israel, to me, is the dividing line, for nations, individuals, the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats. And God is kind of sifting that right now. And October 7th, to me, was a pivot point and a revealing point. A demonic threshold was crossed, the gates of hell, for sure. But it enabled you to see who people really, truly are. And I'm sad to say, the mask has fallen. And man, oh man, there are many more Jew haters out there than maybe we even expected. And I say this as a non-Jew, as a Christian, and I'm affected by this too. And so are you if you're watching this. If you think, well, tough break for the Jews. You think it's not coming to your doorstep next? There's an old saying in radical Islam, first the Saturday people, the Jews, then the Sunday people, the Christians. That's from radical Islam. Secondly, the radical left hates Christianity. The atheistic, ultra-militantly secular radical left, which embraces free Palestine from the river to the sea, despises Christianity and Bible believers. So that's them. And then the woke right also despise evangelical Christians and Bible-believing Christians who support Israel. They've made that clear. Listen to Tucker Carlson's comments about Bible-believing Christians who support Israel. And their theology is completely warped and out of a place of ignorance and madness, what they're putting forward. So if you think that Christians who adhere to the Bible, and look, if you adhere to the Bible, you will inevitably support Israel and the Jewish people. That doesn't mean you support every single thing that Israel or Jews do. Of course not. But you will see God's hand on this people, his special relationship with this people, how that land is near and dear to the heart of God, how it has a massive prophetic role still to come and already fulfilled, but much of it's still to come. And you'll support Israel. You'll want to see Israel do well. You'll want to see Israel be at peace and do well and not be attacked and to thrive, just as you want, of course, your home country to thrive and do well. But if you're a Bible believer, you have a special place in your heart for Israel. Because it is a special place. The word of God's very clear, and God does not break his promises, his eternal covenants with his people. But that's all out the window now in the eyes of a growing legion of people. And when you're seeing it from every political sector, radical left, woke right, radical Islam, you know something's up, because these people can't agree on much, but they can agree on this. You know something's up. There's something deeper here. And October 7th, again, it was unleashed the day after October 7th. You think Sydney, Australia, what happened on Sunday, the massacre there occurred in a vacuum? Folks, on October 8th, 2023, one day after the October 7th massacre, I mean, Israel, Hamas, there were still Hamas jihadis in the communities in the kibbutzes of southern Israel fighting one day after October 7th. The IDF was engaging them. There was still fighting going on. People, bodies still being found. As that's happening in Sydney, Australia, one day after October 7th, a group of Muslim marchers and Palestinian, waving Palestinian flags, etc., the usual, were yelling, "Gas the Jews," outside the Sydney Opera House. Allahu Akbar, F the Jews, gas the Jews, and things even worse than that. Something was unleashed. And then we saw what happened on American college campuses, the eruption of anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas mobs and hatred. It's like something was unleashed and the devil said, okay, go now, go into action. And that's what happened. So we've seen these minions, these anti-Israel forces go into overdrive. And two things, and my friend Mati Shoshani from TBN Israel, another great channel here on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. I interviewed Mati today for my nightly TBN show, Stacklebeck Tonight. And if you haven't seen Stacklebeck Tonight, check it out on TBN every weeknight, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with a re-air at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And also we have a Stacklebeck Tonight YouTube channel. You can subscribe there as well. But Mati is a guest on tonight's show. And he said, you know, Eric, the world, number one, the world howled for a Gaza ceasefire. Okay, Israel agrees to it. President Trump brokers it. Israel agrees to it. Hamas breaks it continuously. But there is a ceasefire. Israeli forces pulled back. Did that ease the anti-Israel and anti-Semitic hatred? No. It's only gotten worse. Number two, Mati made the point that every time Israel does something strong and decisive, it helps eliminate Iran's nuclear weapons program. The 12-day war is a smashing success, weakens the Iranian regime, takes out Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. They show strength. The world, quote unquote, much of the world doesn't like it. They like Jews to be victims. They don't like strong Jews in Israel who are fighting for survival and being strong and being proactive and sometimes being preemptive to preserve their nation, their people, and their civilization. Historically, people haven't liked that very much. When the Jews, those pesky Jews, get out of line. So you see the anti-Semitism intensify then. Very interesting how this is, and people talk about there's hand-wringing. Why? Why anti-Semitism? It's been happening for 3,500 years. Why? And folks, there's a lot of reasons. There's tangible physical reasons, of course, but the ultimate reason, clearly, this is spiritual. There's something deeper here going on. Clearly. And where's it heading? Well, Israel is a nation that is committed to defending its borders and defending its people, especially after October 7th, much to the chagrin of the world, which doesn't like to see that. Europe says, you should be more like us. Throw your borders wide open, allow mass Muslim immigration and appease them and kowtow to their beliefs. Tolerate the intolerant. Israel says, no, we're not going to do it. Trump says, no, we're not going to do it. He bans Palestinian entry to the United States today. If you're just joining us, we talked about that earlier. And the world hates that. Israel and the United States, to me, folks, under Trump, the United States, Under different leadership, I can't say this. Under the previous leadership, I couldn't say it. But Israel and the United States right now are the last buffers holding back the madness from consuming the Western world. And Israel geographically is not in the West. It's in the heart of the Middle East. Yet Israel is the birthplace of Judeo-Christian Western civilization. It really began on Mount Sinai 3,500 years ago when Moses received the 10 commandments for God, commandments, I can talk, I promise, from God Almighty. And then it flourished in Jerusalem. That's where it derives from. So Israel and the United States, with Trump trying to make the U.S. strong again, trying to restore common sense and sanity and peace through strength, they're all that's holding back a one-world system, madness, and some pretty serious prophetic events that are coming down the pipeline. Don't kid yourself. The prophetic chess pieces are moving on the board rapidly. That's why we're so glad you're here with us on the Watchman Newscast. It's been great to be with you today. Very important update here. And we'll be on the road the next few days in a good place. I think you'll like where we are. A lot of good stuff happening, but we'll be joining you tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. We shall see. You will get the alert, but we'll be with you in the next few days, no doubt. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.